What's it like at the 75th commemoration of D-Day in Normandy, France today? Well, we'll hear from one of the few remaining veterans of the battle and one of my good friends coming up on the Hot Zone.
This is the Hot Zone. Engaging with the news in a whole new way, international war correspondent Chuck Holton brings insight into areas of crisis and lets you help those affected.
Well, folks, every year when the anniversary of D-Day comes around, it seems like we say this might be the last one where actual veterans of the battle get to attend. But amazingly, there are still a few hanging on who are fit enough and tough enough to travel to Normandy for the 75th anniversary of the invasion. They'll be joining hundreds of thousands of people visiting the sites of that important moment in world history this week, where so much blood was shed for our freedom. So today, I want to bring you a couple interviews with some of these special people. First coming up is my good friend Marcus Hull, who served with me in the Rangers back in the 80s and now helps run the Three Rangers Foundation, which provides veterans with financial, spiritual, physical, and mental support and assistance. Okay, Marcus, you're out on Omaha Beach, man. I wish I was there with you. Tell me about what's going on out there.
That's pretty amazing. You know, it's the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion here in Normandy. Which happened on June 6th of 1944. And so you had Allied forces coming in from England over here, invading where the occupied France. Germans had strongholds here. This is Utah Beach, and behind me you see the cliffs maybe of Pointe du Hoc, and then Omaha Beach. So the way I understand it is the cliffs there at Pointe du Hoc, where the 2nd Rangers scaled those cliffs. They're the highest point, and that's why they're pretty distinguishable from here. About 5 miles walk from this point. And so we have lots and lots of people that are here. Interesting. Most of them are French. They don't speak English at all, and they're dressed as American soldiers. So they have patches from the 101st to the 82nd to almost every unit that was here. But very few are dressed as French soldiers. And of course, there aren't a whole lot of people dressed up as German soldiers, but there are some.
Yeah, well, so is this your first time going to Omaha Beach? Have you been there before?
Never been here before. It's pretty momentous.
I bet. And as you say, the French are very appreciative of the sacrifices made by American soldiers there. As a matter of fact, sometimes I think maybe the French understand it a little better than most Americans do. But tell me about the feelings you're having as you go around and see these monuments to the men who died there. Over 50,000 guys in the Battle of Normandy. Unbelievable on the Allied side. Tell me about what it's like to be there.
It's surreal. Most of the churches were built back at the turn of the century. I mean, the turn of the 19th century. So they're pretty old, and they still have bullet holes. We went to the church today where the one soldier who was parachuting in from the 101st was caught on the pinnacle of the church and was hanging there. I think he was shot twice, and he survived. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting there looking up at the peak where he was hanging from, and they have a dummy hanging up there now, but you just see that, and you go inside the church and the stained glass. It's just outstandingly beautiful. I mean, even if you weren't a military history buff, you would still be in awe.
Yeah, for sure. That there at St. Mary Glees is pretty amazing, and I've been there with a guy who jumped in at that point, and we interviewed him. It was pretty spectacular. There's going to be a lot of ceremonies and things going on over the next couple of days. Tell me what your plans are. What's your itinerary look like?
Well, today was going around to several of the different areas that were outside of. There's a restricted travel area, restricted ban that goes into effect tomorrow, 4 June, that runs through the end of 6 June. That's to help with the security details that are coming in advance for the arrival of the United States president, French president, and I think representative from the UK as well. And so we wanted to get everything outside of that restricted area today. Tomorrow we'll be at Pointe du Hoc for a ceremony at 8 in the morning, and we're going to get there super early. Then there'll be some ranger-specific events, a lunch and a dinner after that in that area. Then the next day on the 5th, I believe we're going to be and walking around and just seeing what things are going on there. And then the 6th is the big ceremony there at the cemetery. President Trump is scheduled to be there along with all the other dignitaries. We actually have passes for that event, so we'll see if they work and actually can get us in.
So are you there on behalf of the Three Rangers Foundation, or did you just go kind of on your own?
I just kind of went on my own because I said this is definitely the place to be, and there's a whole lot of people, a lot of living Ranger history here. We have a lot of former sergeant majors from the regiment that are here, and of course we have representatives from 2nd and 3rd Ranger Battalion here as well.
Oh, that's cool. So you're getting to hang out with some other Rangers then?
Absolutely. I haven't done it yet, but tomorrow is going to be the first day of it, and I think we're staying at a place just south of Juno Beach, which is the easternmost, I guess, limit of the invasion. I believe the Canadian forces landed there. So up there, it's kind of like down here where they have, you see almost every house has an American flag, and then right underneath it a flag of like the 82nd Airborne, 101st, just any and lots of other units. Up there, it's primarily the Canadian flag is everywhere, and same thing. They have pictures on the street representing what happened here and what the picture looked like back in 1944, and then you can look down the street and identify windows and shapes and buildings to see, oh man, this was taken right here on this spot. It's really
that is really cool. I've seen a couple of those plaques on the sides of walls and stuff up there where you look at that and you can see all the rubble and destruction from after World War II, and then you can see the exact same building and identify the corner and the walls and all that. That's pretty awesome. I love some of those pictures. Well, I'm glad you're getting a chance to go see that history and say hi to some of our Ranger buddies for me. Have you seen any World War II veterans yet?
I have not seen any World War II veterans yet, Chuck, but I'm very hopeful that tomorrow we'll see some at Pointe du Hoc.
Awesome. Great. Well, give them our best and enjoy yourself out there.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Chuck. I appreciate the opportunity. Ranger lead the way.
All right. Cool. So if you're passionate about supporting our veterans, the Three Rangers Foundation is a great way you can do that. You can find them on the web at threerangersfoundation.org. Okay, next, I want to let you hear from some World War II vets who became part of the legend that started back in 1944. This is powerful stuff, so hurry, go get your sons and make them listen to this guy.
George K. Mullins.
What brings you here to Normandy?
To pay my respects to the boys that didn't make it back.
What did you do here in Normandy?
I first landed not too far from here, out of a boat, and we went to the Dove River. Across the Dove River, I don't know what day. We had one casualty that day just before we crossed. And we made the crossing, I believe, before midnight. And we had the most casualties one time, as I know of the 327 all during the war.
How did you survive?
Well, I was one of the lucky ones. I was alive next morning.
Anything about your upbringing or courage?
I lived through the Great Depression and must have been one tough guy. took my basic training, Camp Wheeler, Georgia. After working all day, we could go in a full field or a hike with a full field pack, 30 miles. I had a short training in my basic training. I had never seen a tank, and I never seen a piece of artillery. But believe me, when I got right here in Carentan and on and through, I learned it fast.
Walking here today, what's going through your mind? What do you feel?
How come I'm here? How come I'm here? Excuse me, and no one else in my outfit. And I recognize the older buildings.
What would you say to them if they were here? Or if you could talk to them?
I think I'd be so happy that I couldn't ask a question. We were diggers. So what are you talking about, diggers? I said, we never stopped 15 minutes till we were digging a hole. And that's the way we survived, is underground. And it didn't, the faster the artillery came in, the faster we could dig. I spent 72 days up in Holland on the front lines. And we needed a little rest, but we came down to Mormelon, and we was back in Bastogne, Belgium in 2 weeks.
So how long were you over here total?
How long was I in I was in, the first time I went in the Army, I was in 2 years, 2 months, and 11 days.
And were you just pulled out of your town? Were you drafted, or how did you enter? Were you drafted?
I was drafted, but I let them draft me. I was going to sign up anyway, so I didn't bother to volunteer. So I said, they're going to get me anyway in a few days. So I never bothered, they got me anyway. But after this campaign, I was pulled back in the service, and I spent 1 more year in the Armed Security Agency.
How do you look so young? What's your secret?
That'd take a while for me to answer that. I give credit to my father and mom, and that's first. I would have to give credit to my creator, Ark. My mom and dad next. And being married 40 years to a little angel. That's how come it be. I guess I came from a strong family.
All right, that's all for the podcast today, folks. I'm still working my way to Afghanistan as you watch this, and I'll have some great stuff for you next week on that. So stay tuned, and thanks for being a part of The Hot Zone.
The Hot Zone is produced by Amy Holton and Livefire Media. Copyright 2019.